few years ago, designers spent hours getting one illustration right, only to find the next one doesn't match the same style. Yeah, AI made image creation faster, but keeping everything consistent was still a headache, and Recraft is trying to make that whole process much easier with AI built specifically for designers, illustrators, and marketers. Also, unlike typical AI image tools, it actually lets you create illustrations, vector art, icons, and 3D graphics in a consistent brand style, so you can then keep editing everything with AI instead of rebuilding the design from zero. But can Recraft actually replace parts of the design workflow designers have been using for years, or is it just another AI generator? Let's see. When it comes to image generation, Recraft clearly gives designers more control instead of just throwing a random image at them. With the latest v4.1 model, we can create everything from realistic lifestyle images and 3D scenes to illustrations, logos, posters, and vector graphics. And honestly, even with a simple prompt, the results already look pretty polished, with cleaner details, more natural lighting, and less of that obvious AI-generated feel. We can also add more specific instructions for things like materials, lighting, camera angles, depth of field, or even small facial details, and Recraft is able to keep those details pretty consistent. What really makes it useful for designers, though, is the vector generation. Recraft can create fully editable SVG files with proper paths, layers, and clean geometry directly from a prompt, rather than giving you a flattened image that you have to rebuild. It also handles text surprisingly well, so creating posters, logos, menus, packaging, or branded graphics becomes much easier. And with v4.1 utility, we can get cleaner, more predictable results for product shots, icons, mockups, and e-commerce images. Plus, Recraft now works inside Figma, Framer, and Chrome, so you can generate, edit, vectorize, or upscale assets without constantly jumping between different tools.
With Recraft, we can actually turn images into editable vectors and work on them directly inside Recraft Studio. So first, we upload a logo, illustration, or graphic, select it, hit Vectorize, and Recraft converts it into real vector shapes. From there, we can adjust individual colors, reduce the number of colors, or even use different color palettes to quickly match a brand style. And if we want to create a vector from scratch, we can choose Recraft v4.1 Vector or Vector Pro, add a prompt, and generate an editable asset right away. Once it's created, we can double-click the vector and start moving, resizing, rotating, duplicating, deleting, or recoloring individual shapes. We can also select multiple elements together or go deeper and edit individual points and curves for more precise changes. There's even an option to turn vectors into frames, which makes combining and creating new variations much easier. And when the design is ready, we can export it as SVG, PDF, or other formats depending on the workflow.
Next, let's create a logo with Recraft. Here, we can do a lot of that just by starting with a prompt. We can choose a vector logo style, describe the idea, and adjust the artistic style to control how clean, detailed, or stylized the result looks. Once the logo is generated, we can also change individual colors directly, which makes it much easier to match a brand palette. And if we want something beyond logos, Recraft also has graphic design styles for posters, covers, and social media graphics, where it handles things like fonts, spacing, and composition automatically. The newer V4 models give us even more control because we can describe the logo almost like a proper design brief, including the shape, colors, layout, and even things we want to avoid. We can also generate fully scalable vector logos with V4 Pro Vector, then export them as SVG or other formats. So instead of getting one AI-generated logo and calling it done, we can actually build, edit, and refine the design around what we need. Sometimes the hardest part of using an AI design tool is simply knowing what to type in the prompt, but Recraft's editing templates can make that much easier. Here we can choose from ready-made workflows built around specific creative tasks. So if we're working on product visuals, we can pick Product Photo Shoot, or if we need different views of the same object, there's an Angles template. We can also turn a sketch into a realistic image with Sketch to Photo, or use options like avatars and editorial shots when we want something more creative. Once we choose a template, we just upload our image, pick the option we need, and run it. Recraft then applies that specific workflow to our image, giving us more consistent results instead of completely random outputs. And if the result looks good, we can export it right away, or choose Edit on Canvas and keep refining it inside Recraft. So instead of building everything from scratch, we can pick a workflow, add our image, and get something useful much faster. We can also create realistic AI portraits in Recraft with its ready-made styles and custom style options. We start with a blank canvas, open the image section, and choose from ready-made styles in the photorealism category. From there, we just describe the person, including things like hair, clothing, accessories, background, and lighting, and Recraft handles the rest. Even if we leave some of those details out, the selected style can still give the portrait a strong overall mood. We can also switch styles while keeping the exact same prompt, which is a nice way to create completely different looks without rewriting everything. And if the built-in styles aren't enough, we can create our own using up to 5 reference images. We can add extra style instructions, then choose whether Recraft should mainly copy the reference's textures and colors, or also follow its composition. Once the style is saved, it appears under My Styles, so we can reuse that same visual look across different portraits and projects. And that same style consistency also carries over when we start creating 3D models. We start with a clean canvas, choose an image set, and pick from ready-made 3D styles like soft abstract, clean plastic 3D, or isometric icons. Then with a simple prompt, Recraft can generate 6 different 3D assets while keeping the same overall aesthetic. We can lock in a specific color palette by adding our own colors or choosing a preset, which is really useful when we're following a brand identity. If we want something more personal, we can upload a reference image, tell Recraft what parts of the style to take from it, and save that as a custom style. After that, we can generate different characters or objects while keeping the same visual direction. And if we already have an image, we can also use Nano Banana Pro inside Recraft to transform it into a clean 3D look using a detailed conversion prompt. Once we have those designs ready, Recraft's Mockup tool lets us place designs into realistic scenes without leaving the canvas. So we start with ready-made mockups for things like apparel, packaging, devices, or outdoor ads, then upload our design, and Recraft automatically places it into the scene. From there, we can resize, rotate, and reposition it, then use the right panel to adjust things like blending, colors, and realism so it feels more like part of the actual surface. The Enhance Realism option is especially useful here, as it helps the design match the lighting, perspective, and surface of the scene. We can also use the same design across different mockups to quickly see how it works in different situations. And we're not limited to the ready-made scenes. We can generate our own scene, like a billboard, then convert that image into a mockup and drop our design onto it. So instead of building everything from scratch, we can pick a workflow, add our image, and get something useful much faster. So, is Recraft actually worth adding to your design toolkit? We'd say yes. We found that it gives us a really nice balance between speed, creative freedom, and control. It doesn't just generate visuals and leave us with a finished image. We can actually work with the results and shape them around what we need. And that's our take on Recraft. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if this review helped, hit like, subscribe for more.